It's just
Of
that simple.
course.
Just like
Yeah.
no man can teach a woman how to be a woman.
Damn
We
right.
don't know all the intricacies.
I don't care what you feel like either. You
No,
can't.
no, 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 no. You can't. You don't, unless you've been a woman and gone through being a woman and had those emotions and all the stuff placed upon you. You're not gonna know. Same thing with a man. Have those urges, have those that ego, that testosterone. You don't know what it's like. So it's on both spectrums. You got a man, a lot of those, Caucasian households have a man in the household. So at least, even if the household is kind of messed up, at least they know that a man is there. You see what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
They see him there consistently. So at least they know, all right, I need to be in a household where my family is at a
So
minimum basis.
right. So now it just seems like it's just a big vicious cycle. It just seems like the ideas of being a man, like publicly and personally for young men of all color, it it just makes it seem like society makes it seem like being a man is one, easy, like we talked about. Two is it's looked upon with others, like with other ideas, as far as being toxic and having a fine line between acting like a gentleman and being mannish, or perverted or whatever. It's so fine. It's just a fine line. But when it comes to like black men, they're faced with all those things, plus, like you said, the father's out the house. But it's that father that has had the same type of upbringing that he's bringing his kid, and that's the vicious cycle. There's nobody breaking in the middle unless they go to school and they find somebody. They find a career and they become successful, and then they have this new idea about life because they're not in the hood anymore. They've experienced something outside of their environment. But
Yeah.
the cycle is what I'm getting at as we're talking. I see it always goes back to the beginning. We talked about being soft and still being strong, and then what you brought up, what you experienced being brought
Mhm.
up in the hood or with a
Yeah.
father not there. So with this, it just loops after loop, and maybe one jumps out, maybe one young man jumps out and just kind of spirals on his own. But what could we as a whole, a black community, a man, like the the black male community,
Well,
what could
we
what could we do to facilitate better ideas and mindsets to be more compassionate but still stand your ground, but learn how to be a man so that you can be a father, the right kind of man, so that
well
you.
look at our influences. Like for me, the first man when I was young and like 11, 12 that I seen getting money was a drug dealer. So if I'm broke and in the projects, who am I looking to for game? I'm looking
But
to the
that's not
look,
your
listen,
fault.
yeah, but him, but now I'm looking at him as a man. As a drug dealer, his personality has to be vicious
Right.
because it's a dirty game. He can't take no shorts, can't take no losses. That's just how that game is. You got to be vicious. You have to react with violence anytime you're um, confronted, no
Mm-hmm.
matter who it is, man or female. I've seen men, drug dealers, beat up women crackheads. I've seen them beat up men crackheads. So you're taught to be vicious. Then what are we listening to? What rap music are we listening to? Rap music. We objectify women and we get money. That's all. So those are our
Right.
influences.
Right.
The people that we're, and then what do? They put you in. Your mama tried to get you off the street, so she put you in competitive sports where it's nothing but ego and masculinity driven. I play
Right.
football, so I'm trying to tear people's heads off. So only thing I know is viciousness on a
Right.
whole. That's all I know is being a man. When you're on the football field, your coach is yelling at you, kill him, work hard. You know, you do, you know, vicious. It's all about physical contact. You in the hood,
Right.
physical contact. So only thing you grow up knowing is try and get money, be vicious, try and find women.
So, and that's very true. So let's think about a solution that people could possibly that could possibly be a catalyst to breaking those cycles of, having to not grow up with a father, or um, knowing how to manage influence from music to friends. Like what are some things a community of black people could do to help facilitate a stronger young black male? And for me, I can start off by answering. um there needs to be a little bit more there needs to be a lot more catered to young men's dreams and goals, because through those goals it always ends up being you got to work hard, right? So when a goal is to become a lawyer, but you stuck in the hood trying selling drugs and all this shit, to facilitate, like if somebody could just facilitate those dreams, I think you change a lot of the patterns that is in their life. And I've seen it
Yeah.
happen, because you have friends that, I had friends that just seemed like they were not gonna make it, but then they turned out to be very distinguished people. And it's just amazing to me how just one little simple gesture of helping someone reach a goal or see a certain path, you get an opportunity to look elsewhere than, you know the streets, or getting influenced by this way and that way. And with facilitating those dreams and goals and being able to show them the way, they then turn that
Excuse me.
into what they do when they're, when they have a son or a daughter. They get to rewrite a lot of the path that was going to be, vicious for the kid, but through their personal growth and
Mm.
ideas to make them a better person, they they're able to at least know how to pursue some type of happiness away from the killing, the ideas of gossiping, just those
They have
things.
to. It's gonna honestly, it's gonna take money because you have to put programs in place, and if not that, they have to see. Like, if I would have met probably a black man when I was younger that was a lawyer or a doctor that drove a nice car, I probably would have been like, oh, oh, I'm a doctor. Then I'd be like, oh, really? But I
Of
didn't see
course.
that. So
Yeah.
you need to see the end goal sometimes. All I saw was these dudes hustling. They got nice cars and they got a pocket full of money. I ain't got no food in the house. I'm broke. I need to figure out that's the man. Not
Right.
being a man. See, we look at the man as being a man. The man is not a man. Oh, that's the man. Oh, you the man. He the man. That's not technically what a
Right.
man really is. But that's what we see. So we only can go based off of what we see and what we grew up seeing. So if more maybe, businessmen that are black or doctors or lawyers come and show these kids how they living, like, yo, look, yeah, he hustling, but he's still living in the projects with you.
Mhm.
See, we don't realize that. We don't realize like, okay, that's not really a man because he ain't even got a house. Yeah, he got nice cars, but he's still in the projects with you. The goal is to get out the projects, not to be hood rich, but we don't know anything, and that we see that that's not hard work. All you gotta do is get this, cook it up, chop it up, bag it, sell it. You got money. See,
Right.
everything else is steps. You gotta go to school to be a lawyer, or you gotta go go be an apprentice to get into a trade. That take time. You don't get that money right away. We looking for right now. And I think as men, we grow up like me. I grew up fast. So I didn't get that childhood at 11. All that kiddie shit stopped for me.
Right.
10, 11, there was no more kiddie stuff. There was no more imagination or trying to imagine or believing in things that, kiddie stuff or cartoons or thinking you He-Man, all that shit, or Power Rangers, all that was done. It's real life now. So now I'm growing up learning lessons that I don't understand because I don't have that level of comprehension.
Right.
So I'm gonna have bad habits as a man, and I'm only gonna see when you selfish, it's hard to see any kind of compassion for anybody. So you grow up, that's a lot of things with us too. We grow up selfish, so we don't know how to, give or receive love. Like it's hard for me to even like when people try to give me stuff or do shit for me, it's hard for me to take anything because I always think there's an ulterior motive behind it.
Right. I
But
mean,
just how I'm growing up. So I'm like, here, I'm like, what's that for?
yeah,
For what?
yeah.
What you want? So we grow up with, we grow up very closed off. We're just sheltered. We're very closed off. We're not even a lot of like women are open books. They don't have problems telling you their struggles and the things they went through and talking to other women about that. We don't really talk about the downfalls or, if you went through something because we're more embarrassed because we men. That
Mm,
embarrasses us to tell about our shortcomings or our downfalls or if our lady left us or she over here with some other man, we don't want to get laughed at or we don't know how to handle that. I don't know how. Ain't none of my buddies ever came to me like, yo man, I'm in a bad place, man, my woman cheating on me, I don't know what to do. First thing we say is, "Oh, fuck her, leave her." But we don't know why she cheated. We don't look at the okay. You done cheated. You done got caught cheating 15 times. She forgave you. This one time she was tired of you fucking off. You went and did. She went and did something. But we ain't got the we ain't got the compassion or the capacity to let that shit go because we're ego driven and we don't have those conversations. We don't have nobody to talk to about that.
right.
Will we go talk to another woman or somebody? We don't go. We don't have those relationships as men to really talk about
And
those
that's
things that are troubling us. We usually will go to a woman. Like if I'm troubled by something, I go talk. I won't go talk to my boys. I talk to Lawanda, and before I was with Lawanda, I talked to my mama. But even though
right.
I'm close with my friends, I wouldn't. I would feel, it's an embarrassment to talk to them
Well,
about certain things.
you knew not to talk to them. You knew not to talk to them because you knew that they wouldn't give you the right advice. They probably would encourage you not to.
Now, my best friend, right, Kai Hill, he'll give me the right. We're really good, but I still wouldn't feel comfortable coming to him with something that made me feel soft or insecure, is what I'm
Right.
saying. We wouldn't feel comfortable going to another man telling them about our insecurities.
Of course, yeah. Nobody we don't want to be looked on as someone who can't handle shit. Because
Soft.
yeah, and that is never the case. And to add to what you just said, in being influenced and having the male compassion as men is something different when you can go to your boys and you can talk and they can instill some type of reasoning in your heart and in your
Yeah.
mind.
Because they may be going through the same thing. We probably all going through the same issues, but we just don't talk to each other about it. See, women will talk to each other about those issues that happen with a man, and then
Right.
they can kind of relate to each other and say, "Girl, I did this. This is what helped me." We not gonna do that with each other, so we don't really learn. We need to start learning from each other, learning from each other's downfalls, and being a little more transparent and open to talk about certain
Right.
things that we may feel makes us soft or that we're insecure about because the only other person that may be going through that same thing is another man.
Yeah, of course.
You see?
That you're right.
So that's and that's another thing about like manhood. We don't it's no clear cut explanation for it. Just like and because we don't share the info, that's another thing. Like when we were talking about, we don't share the information with each other. And that's what we need to start sharing more information and not looking at it as, oh, he's soft. Or,
Right.
no offense, what men used to always say, oh, that's gay. Anything
Yeah.
but how do you know? What do you know? What is considered? What is gay? You don't, that doesn't,
Well, we used to
everything we
say,
do. Oh, that's gay. Oh, don't do that. That's gay. Or now they say pause, or
yeah.
know that when people tell me pause, I say, look, man, that's, I'm never talking about anything gay unless I'm saying, hey, I'm talking about something gay.
Right.
Seriously. If I say when I see him, I'm gonna bust his ass, that don't mean I'm doing that has nothing to do with anything gay. That mean when that's just the era I grew up in,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
I'm same way. Same here.
But now, oh, that's you shouldn't do that. That's it's what is considered how do you know what's considered gay? Is it and we may take something as being soft as gay, but it's and I think a lot of those people are just homophobic that do that, but that's a whole nother topic.
A lot of what I do see is that young men, as a when a man, an older man with some experience goes to a young man and just connects, that changes a lot of, how they think and
And
how they approach stuff.
I'll let you finish real quick, but we have to be able to receive it because it was an old man out and at when I first started working at GM that took to me that was trying to school me, but he came where it was more compassion and he was feeling, and I ain't want to hear that shit because it was too, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to, I got that ego. We need to be able to receive it when when someone older is telling us, about their experiences. But
Right.
I wasn't able to receive. He was just trying to tell me about his trials and tribulations of where he went wrong. That's how we have to learn. We have to learn from others' mistakes and be able to say, okay, I see this the mistake you made. I'm going to do different. But we usually find out the hard way.
Of course, yeah. And that's where like mentorship is so important. I know that there was a young man at church that I was just playing basketball with, and one of the pastor's son, he is over the youth ministry at church, and he saw us playing basketball, and he was just telling me like, yo, that right there did more for him than you know. And I think he knew about the young man's background or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but just seeing, another black man, you know just take to him as far as just playing basketball increased the it may have increased some type of relationship as far as mentorship with the young man. And I
Yeah.
don't, I didn't follow up. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on, but right there is just an excuse. And I think that that's where I talk about compassion and
Mm-hmm.
humility, and I lack compassion and humility in areas to where I can give my time to somebody that needs it
Right.
for real. So when just to conclude, I know that I will be better at trying to reroute a young man's mind if it's not in line with having a better life. I was talking to Justin, our cousin.
Yeah, but that's like what we talked about when I said I could have even been a little, thank God, Beaks was Beakers was a great mom and her boys turned out, good. But I could have been a bigger influence to where, okay, they see me, they say, oh, cousin Tudor got this, he got this car, got what he do? He work, he go to school. I could have been a bigger influence and took the time out or flew down there to see you. And that way, but even though you had your father, let's just say he wasn't there and you in Atlanta with your mom, I could have flew down there and been hanging with you and you be like, oh, what do you do? I'm doing this. I'm like, oh man, I need to get a job there. So now your mindset different. My cousin taking trips, he ain't hustling, he working
Right.
every day. So now your mind is like, okay, I'm gonna do that. He out here living his life and you see the consequences. But when you only see, oh, this the only way that you know to get money, I don't see nobody else because everybody else in the family, everybody else that I know that's getting money is a woman.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't need no drug dealer men and hard working women. I don't take to the women because
That's
I'm not
and
a woman. I'm gonna
right.
take to the men regardless because my mom, my Barbara, they always had nice cars, always had nice stuff.
Yep.
So that's never been an issue. By the time I got older, granddaddy was retired. So,
Yeah.
I didn't, look at it like, so the people that I seen that got money that went on trips was either hard working women or men that hustled. There was no real working man because Uncle John was living in California or Phoenix or Washington somewhere. Y'all was in Atlanta. Ain't nobody else working that I'm around. That's around me personally. Ain't nobody else work. Who else? Who else was there? I'm the oldest male cousin in the family.
Yeah. You were, yeah, you led the show.
Right,
I
but
think
I don't.
am I the second
But I'm
oldest?
I'm leading blind. You are.
Dang, I didn't even know.
Yeah. Then it's John John. Then it's Justin. Then it's Tyrell. No, 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 no. Is Aaron older than you? I think Aaron's older than you.
He might be Celeste's age.
No, 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 no. I'm older than Aaron. I think Aaron's like 37, maybe. So I
Hmm.
think it's me, Aaron, you, Justin, Tyrell. No, me, Aaron, you, John John, Justin, then Tyrell.
And then Shola's
Then my
son.
son, then my son. No, no,
Oh,
then Sharon's oldest, then
right. That's
then
right.
Sharon and Sharon's son, my sister and my son were born on the same day. That's crazy. They were both born on the same day, same year, my father's birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, both of his kids were born on his birthday.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
He playing that.
he shared. I guess so. Can't get rid of him no matter how hard I try.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so
It's
we don't see nothing, and but my son know daddy got money because he go to work.
yeah, that's what I saw. I saw my father going to work, but
Yeah,
I do, like I said, I do wish I had him more available, but he had to work hard. He
yeah,
had to. He knew he had to do it, but he was never some bad dad. I said there was a couple. There's been like a few days where I never saw him.
yeah. It be like that, but you ain't go a week without seeing him.
Oh nah,
You ain't go a month. See, I went like I think I went the longest I never seen. I think I went like a year or two without seeing dude.
That's
But I would
cool.
always miss him, and then when I would see him, it was almost like, but what I realized now, it was his embarrassment because I would catch him sometimes. Like I pop up over grandma and granddaddy house and he be there and he be kind of looking, hey, and then he leave. And I was looking at it as, oh, he ain't want to see me, but he probably embarrassed because he was supposed to do something for me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, or, so those kind of things that drive like, you start when seeds of hurt and anger are planted, man, that shit just it amplifies everything else. It amplifies your selfishness. It amplifies your attitude. It amplifies your aggressiveness. Because you longing for something. You
So
know,
do
it,
you think?
it's
So
plenty times I waited for that dude to pick me up and he never showed, and I wouldn't see him for months. That shit
yeah,
leaves an
yeah.
impression on you. It leaves a kind of, you start to get a, for lack of better words, fuck everybody attitude.
So do you think that if men got it together as a whole, do you think the world would be a better place?
Yeah, of course. As far as child raising,
Okay, here's a better question. If which
like, okay,
world
let me
would be
answer this.
better?
Okay.
This is how I want to ask this question. Which world would be better? A world where women got together and was a better were better women just in general as a human being, or if men were better men and they they played the general role of being a leader in their house. Like if every man was like, you know what, I'm buckling down, I'm not
It'll
gonna.
it'll always be the man because I think as a whole, women do a great job, especially black women that are left with children and left with the responsibility because you got to realize that responsibility for the most part lies on a woman to raise a child when they're not together because a man can just disappear and be gone. That's why it's a lot of single mothers, single parent households.
Right.
So it's and what it shows is the single parents majority of the time are the women. So that's especially in the black, in black culture. So that leaves a lack of male influence. So, and it's only so much a woman can do. So I don't think women on the whole are doing a bad job at all. Actually, I think they're doing best with what they can that they're
Right.
dealt with. Now, some aren't. Some are not doing a good job. Period. Some women, are not. All women aren't great mothers. Just like all fathers aren't great fathers. All men aren't great fathers. But the way the system is set up, it seems for black and you know brown communities, or just in general, men don't even. If it's a split, the baby's going with the woman 9 times 10 times out of 10 for the most part. It has to be some extreme circumstances for the child to go with the father. Not saying that the father wants the child, but I'm just saying in general. And I think as adults, I don't know, I think as adults and as men, you have to get over the fact that you're not with that person anymore and not worry about that. Just worry about the child and not worry about what they do. See, men, we have egos, right? We break up with a woman, she start messing with some other dude. Now we don't even want to be involved with her. Oh, f her, she this, she that. So, but you take that out on the child. It has nothing to do with the child, and you can't control people. So if you and same thing with women. Some women, a lot of dynamics. I'm not saying all the time. It causes the breakup where the adults don't like each other, and majority of a lot of times it's egos involved. Someone, if someone was caught, whatever the breakup reason was, y'all break up, y'all don't like each other, and the child ends up suffering instead of saying, look, we ain't together no more, forget all this, let's just let me do what I got to do for the child. A lot of times the relationship that y'all had gets in the way of the child, and also the child sees that, and
Yeah.
everything is, so, and if you're not man enough to talk to your child, especially if y'all not together, say, look, it ain't got nothing to do with you, because a lot of times I thought, it may be me, you need to let the child know that it's not them, that why you ain't there. Because a lot of times you may, your daddy ain't there, you may think it's because of you.
Right. Right. Right.
So I think it definitely is on the men to be in the child's life, because especially if they 9 times out of 10 they live with the mama. So the mama there doing whatever she got to do. It's on that man to be, strong enough and to let his ego go and to go and try and establish a relationship with his child. Because like right now, me and my father I don't know what dude like to eat. I don't even know
Mm.
how old he is. I
And
just
that's
know
not good.
his
That's
birthday
not good.
because of my kid. It was born, and I didn't even know that when my son was born. I didn't know that was his birthday. You see what I'm saying? I don't know anything about this dude because me and him have never had conversations.
Right.
I've had conversations with my son about where I came from and why he should be grateful. Look, this is what our daddy did. This is why daddy is like that. This is why daddy acts like that sometimes. I've had those conversations with my son.
Right. Right.
So he can know and be, and know what he has is a lot better than what I had. So he can be more appreciative and work harder. But I didn't have those conversations with my father. And that's
Right.
where what I think with men, we have to start having conversations with our kids. We don't have a lot of and at first I wouldn't have like Lawanda would be talking to him these in-depth conversations. I'm like, they kids, they don't need, but they do need to hear that.
Right.
So, and I think as men, we need to be more communicative with our children, just
Yeah. I
on a
think.
regular conversation basis.
Yeah. I think we found that it's, you know, it would have been good to hear a perspective from a female, and I think we could definitely pick that up one time and bring someone
Mhm.
that you know, maybe two different females from the same type of situations we were in, one with both parents, one without, and kind of get an understanding on what they think that a man should be, because I definitely know that they have different
Oh yeah,
um
definitely.
likings as far as what type of man they want. So I
Yeah,
think, but what I think we
what they
found
want
is
in a
that,
man. Yeah.
yeah,
And
right,
also just because a man is there in the house doesn't mean he's in the house.
right,
Doesn't
yeah,
mean he's there because it can be, and you can learn bad traits from men too. You can be around an abusive father that, hits a woman and that's what you learn.
Right.
Or you can be a woman that sees that happening and thinks that sees them, your father hit your mama, and you think it's okay for a man to hit a woman, and it's not. So, we just have to be clear cut. Every situation is different, but I think with men, we just need to have more, be more communicative, and just
Yeah,
talk
you're
more,
right.
and be
I,
and be less intimidated by our shortcomings or things that have happened to us, because it's a lot of shit that I might that has happened to me as a man, as far as on the emotional spectrum, of or mental spectrum, that I probably would have been better off talking to a man that was more in tune with his feelings and able to open up, because I may have been able to learn from him, because it's easier to learn from somebody who's going through something similar to you, that is similar to you.
right. I think, yeah, I think we found that it's so important that a man has the right mindset to help guide and lead. I think that that is a major factor as far as uh, correcting some of the wrongs in America. If men got it together, a lot of the things that go on now
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
be talked about. So I think us as men, we do need that compassion to help each other, to kind of guide them, especially through marriage. If they decide to do that, if they don't, like I was saying before, I was trying to say, I was telling Jason he has an idea that he doesn't want to get married, and I told him that's good that he knows himself. So
Right.
he doesn't get caught up in a relationship and lead someone on. But I also poured into him that don't be scared to share your life with someone who you feel deserves it. And if that's the case, you should consider taking it to a level of where you can grow your family, where you can have a, a loving partnership to where your life is now. It really truly means something when you have children. You it means something. So I poured that into him. I didn't, it's in the Bible. It definitely tells us that we need our women as men. We need our women. We need. It's not natural for us to be alone. It's not. It's just
No.
not natural for a man to be alone.
And
And you,
he's a lot younger, so you got to
well, of
realize,
course.
when I was his age, I was like, I ain't never getting married.
But there it is again. See, that's what it is. You said at his age, you weren't dealing with none of that shit. But if you would have had somebody who was genuine, who told you that, hey, yeah, I understand. You don't want to be out. You don't want to get into a relationship if you don't want to.
Right.
And you're not. Don't do it because society tells you to, or do it to where when you share your life with that person, you're really giving yourself up in a loving way,
Hmm.
because that's what marriage is. You're sharing. You don't
Right.
want to. You're becoming one by being individuals, but you don't want to force your hand, a ring on a woman's finger. You don't even care about the girl.
Yeah, and
So
and like I said, that comes to a lot of, women weren't able to vote at first. You women were treated almost like second class citizens.
yeah, of course, yeah,
You know what I'm
we
saying?
learn
So
all that.
and that's what sometimes is left over. That's like some leftover, um what did you call it, toxic masculinity, where we
Yeah,
think women are supposed to be under our thumb and do what the hell we say. They're there to cook,
and
clean, and serve, as and I'm stuttering, I'm gonna take that out, fulfill our
that's
desires. That's what we have to get over as men. It's a lot of men out there that are very, very narcissistic.
yeah. It's a lot of men who they may have super authority over human beings. It's
Right.
a lot of the issues that we talk about
And that's with
are just
slavery and everything too.
human being. Yeah, of
Right.
course, that's a human being. Authority over that of over them is the problem, and a lot of folks think that a lot of issues that we speak on today is a gender issue. It's a human issue that we have to deal with. A lot of
But
that toxic masculinity.
it is also a gender issue, based off of, even like, when we bring in, it almost coincides with like the slave type issue, where we still seeing some of those same things today, the same discriminations and all that, from years back. It's the same thing with the men. When you look at like how, those old Western movies or Little House on the Prairie, how the women were treated, or, over in England where they had to wear all this crazy shit and they couldn't do nothing. Those girdles, they were put on a, for show. There's almost like a trophy piece. That's where you hear the term trophy wife. You want something that
Right.
look good for people to look at, but that you control though. It's in your case. Your trophy, you take your trophy and where it wants to go. That's what that is about. Instead of having, a
Yeah.
partner. It's about a partnership. And that's what a lot of men, have to realize. You have to have a partnership with your woman. Now, I'm not saying be no sucker and let nobody run over you, but it's, you have to compromise and you have to be able to look at yourself objectively. We don't look at ourselves objectively. Like I say, it's men that'll cheat on a woman 100 times, and if she fed up and cheat on him once, it's the end of the world.
Right. Yeah.
Because
It's
women have more compassion and are able to, but men is like, oh no, we don't. It's hard to forgive people.
yeah. We can, it's there's so many different verticals we can touch on, but I know that, in conclusion with everything, I think what we've kind of dove into, it reveals that, you know, being having being a man and doing it the right way, where you show compassion and you have humility. I think that is a lot of the answer to society's woes. And I don't
Oh
think,
yeah.
because a lot of, everything is looked on at us, and not to say people who are feminist are, not to say that they're always wrong. There's a reason why they're like that, and a lot of it
Big time.
points to
That's what
a
I'm
man
saying.
doing
Yes.
wrong things.
Yes.
So it's important. It's important to have be, especially for us as black men. We gotta help the youth, the black youth, especially
They
black men.
they gotta see the youth have to see black men that are successful, that are not rappers and athletes, because the richest black men on the planet, some of them are not rappers and athletes. Some of them are now, but that's like everybody, how many rappers there are that you can go on iTunes or Spotify or whatever your music platform is and find a bunch of rappers that ain't making no money.
Nope.
Everybody don't make it in that, man. Everybody is not going to the NFL. Everybody's not going to the NBA or MLB. Everybody is, majority of the successful black men are not athletes or rappers. So they need to see that. They need to see these businessmen. They need to see these doctors. They need to see the dentists. They need to see the, whatever the case may be, whether the contractors, the architects, the engineers, they need to see that there are people out
Yeah.
there that are doing this, but all they see is what they listen to, rap music and sports. That's all we got.
Yeah. It's
I
got.
didn't I didn't meet nobody that was a business, that was making no money, that was a black man until shit. I was all till I was a black man making money.
And that's not good.
I was the first like working black man I made, other than the people that where I started working at. But as
That's
far
not
as like influence, where I seen someone getting some money and doing something good
good.
and working hard, and I seen the end game of what they did and was able to talk to them, there was none of that. For by the time that came about, I was already older.
Right. And for, that's the same thing for me. Well, not the same examples. I had a father that worked, and I had just men in general, different ethnicities, showing me how it was. My friends had, a father, but my homeboy Trey didn't have his dad all the time. But my other friends, I saw a dad. I saw how I had a friend who was he lived with his father. His father was a single parent,
Hmm.
and I saw how he raised him, and that even influenced me in my decision making as far as growing up as a young boy, as a young man, growing into my manhood. And I still got a lot of growing up to do myself,
Yeah.
but
But
all
you
those
have a lot
things
more
help.
compassion than me. You're very, but and that's from what you've seen. My compassion level for, like, I grew up, my compassion level is terrible, man. I told
Right.
you that before. And I'm working on it, but it's really bad for men. See, my compassion level for women is different because I've
Right.
seen women struggle. I've seen what they go through because I grew up around nothing but women. So
Right.
my compassion level for them is, yeah, very high. But for men, it's like, oh, go do something.
Right. Which is wrong.
Yeah, which is wrong, which is terrible.
Right.
Oh, I
I
don't,
mean,
oh, that's your fault. You a
because
man.
I'm
You a
guilty of that too.
man. That's my thing. You a man. But what
Guilty
is
of that too.
that? We still don't know what that is. You, I mean, what is that? What does that mean? You don't have any emotions.
Hmm.
You can't feel pain or sorrow or hurt. You can't cry.
Right.
You can't be insecure. And that's not possible. We just have to be you just have to know your insecurities and kind of face them, and just know your weaknesses as a man, and just like me, I know certain things, like I'm very opinionated, and I get I know how I am, so I kind of just watch it, when you see it, or you know
Right.
and be objective to listening. That's another thing. We don't like to listen. We hear people, but we don't like to listen to shit because of our ego.
We got to get it together, bro. We
Yeah,
got to do better than
yeah, we
that.
got to do better. But that was an interesting conversation. Think we're gonna
Yeah.
wrap it up now. And
You know what? I think
you have any last words?
well, talking about all of this is give I didn't expect to feel like I do need to get, I didn't expect to feel like how I feel now, and that is having more of an arm reaching out to some of the young black youth in my circle, like my friends' kids, just being a being a facilitator of what a man should do for his family in the right way, as far as the compassion
Yeah,
and the
and
humility. So I know from this conversation, I'll be more conscious and more aware of, you know, the young black youth, or even just
yeah,
anybody,
but
a young man in general,
because we got to talk about it before we even think about it, because life gets in the way of stuff, and like you saying, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm probably about to go have a conversation with my son just based off of this,
Right,
just to ask him questions. Do he got any questions? And a lot of times, just ask him, do you got any questions
right,
about this, about this thing called life? Do you have any questions? So, are you going through anything that I may be able to help you with, that I did, and tell you what I did wrong?
right.
Just those we you have to have those kind of conversations and be willing to have. And those are conversations I did not have growing up as a child. I don't know if you had those. If your dad ever came to you and say, "Hey, Mark, you got any questions about anything about a man?"
He always was assertive. So
Okay.
but he'd do it in a spiritual way, which was the greatest thing that I could do. He wasn't a surface level with me. He
Hmm.
really spoke to like my soul in a sense, to enhance me as a just person in general. He always encouraged me to have many friends. He always encouraged me to treat women with respect. He always
Hmm.
encouraged me to wait before I got married to have sex. He encouraged that. And I mean, just those little things may have helped me, or may have uh, helped me avoid some issues down the road. Because
Right.
I'm pretty sure if I didn't know enough about something and I decided to do it myself, it was dangerous. I could have been hurt, or it could have messed up my way of thinking. Anything. So he kept me away from bad stuff.
Yeah.
So
And whereas I had to learn those lessons the hard way, and just by the grace of the creator, and I was able to make it out, without too many long-term scars. So
yeah,
whereas you may have avoided that, is I'll tell people all the time, I'll rather take the safe road than the one that's dangerous, even if it's longer.
I agree, man.
So just as men, I think we just need to be more communicative with each other, and open to talk about things that we may be embarrassed or insecure about.
Yeah,
At all.
yeah,
Because look at Chicago. Just imagine if them boys in Chicago had, half of them had their fathers, just half.
I
You
know.
the effect that would have on, the amount of death,
Yeah,
and crimes and shootings and all that. So, as men, we just have to step up and be more vocal about, shortcomings, and trying to get better. I'm still learning, man. It ain't.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Just like you say, this conversation is gonna make me go back and check myself. And
Right.
that's another thing we need to do as men. At the end of the day, end of the week, just check yourself, man. Just check yourself.